Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Dr. Nicole Lindsay.
And I'm Dr. Brian Jeanette.
And we're at Back in Balance. And today's Facebook Live event is on detoxing. Detox your body.
Detox.
The why, the how, the right now.
Detoxing is one of those things that we all talk about. We all know it's a good thing, but we all might not know how to do it. We might not know when to do it, or we might not know what is an appropriate detox.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing to answer is why. Why do we need to detox? And I've got one word for you. It's called toxins.
That's actually the word that I thought you were going to say. So
Yeah.
I don't want to take your thunder, but
You can take it anytime you want.
perfect. So toxins, there are two types of toxins. One are exogenous toxins. The other is something called endogenous toxins.
And, let's face it, they are everywhere. Toxins in general, they're on the packaging from the foods we eat. They're in the air we breathe.
They're on the foods that we eat.
In the foods,
right. that we eat, right?
They're on our beauty products, makeup, hair, shampoo, conditioner.
We put them on our clothes. We clean our clothes with them. We clean our countertops with them. They're actually woven inside of our clothes. And what happens with these toxins is that these are physical substances that produce these imbalances in individuals. And these imbalances can result in physical, but not only physical, but also mental and emotional symptoms. We're exposed every single day to toxins, and it comes to a point where we just have to purge our system or purge our body of these toxins because our cup just gets too full and starts to overflow.
Exactly. Do you know how many toxins there are that are registered right now in the United States as toxic chemicals? Throw out a number. What do you think that number is?
I think it has like 9 zeros on the end of it.
80,000.
Oh, okay, 5 zeros.
80,000 that are registered toxins and this is stuff in our environment and our food that is definitely getting in our bodies. Now, when our bodies are healthy and in a perfect scenario, our bodies are able to process these chemicals, and they do. They process quite a few of them on an ongoing basis, but
it's constant. It's 24/7, 365 work for our body to do this.
Yeah, and when we get overburdened with stress and all the other things that go along with what our body's responsible for, the body can't handle the demands of pushing these toxins out, and that's when we get sick.
Right, so we get that sickness is probably death is probably the most extreme symptom of toxic overload. Sickness is another one, but there's a lot of small, or what we consider smaller, minor symptoms to too much toxicity. Sleepiness, inability to go to sleep, inability to wake up, headaches. Probably the most common that we experience is skin problems or skin conditions, right? Blemishes or eczema or psoriasis, right? They affect us in just such a vast majority of different ways.
Yeah, and like you said, there's two different types of toxins. There's the exogenous and the endogenous. The exogenous are the toxins that we actually absorb, whether we ingest, whether we breathe in. They come from the outside and they get into our bodies. Mm-hmm. So these could be from
the water that we drink, smog or petroleum-based products, coffee, right? Mm-hmm. I know, I love it. I love coffee, but it's still a toxin.
Yeah.
Tobacco.
Secondhand smoke.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sugar, food preservatives, pesticides.
Medication. Yeah. And over-the-counter medications.
Absolutely. Those are the most common. Herbicides.
Bacteria.
Yeah. Different parasites.
Viruses.
Yeah.
We know about that right now.
I know, right?
But yeah.
6 feet from me, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the exogenous. The endogenous are toxins that are produced. The body's way of handling toxins, our body produces a byproduct of this process. And this is when we get an endogenous toxin. And this can result from compromised digestion, like if your gut is unhealthy, and you are experiencing a lot of bloating, gas, maybe you've been diagnosed with irritable bowel, poor eating habits,
gallbladder problems, gallstones, too much bile, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease.
Yeah, and so what will happen when you have a body that's not properly functioning, then the normal metabolic process, what your body undergoes, which we're going to talk about here in a second, what happens is you will create, as a byproduct, more toxicity. So you're ingesting it isn't enough. Your body then takes what you ingest and creates more toxicity. So it's not really a good thing. So this is why we need to cleanse and detox our bodies.
I think a really good analogy that, we can paint this image in our head is, walking down the street, like pick a big major city like Chicago or New York. You're walking down the street and there's a trash can right there, and they just emptied the trash can, right? So that's your detox that just happened. They emptied the trash can, now this trash can is empty. But hundreds of thousands of people walk by and throw stuff in the trash can. Well, that trash can is going to get full really quickly, and then it starts to reach the top, and then it starts to overflow, and then the trash spills out on the ground. And then what happens? Different animals, different insects come by, and then it starts to smell, and then it's like all that decay starts to happen. This is the same exact thing that happens in our body. We can't expel all of these chemicals. We can't expel all of these toxins, whether they're exogenous or endogenous, and they just stink up inside our body.
Yeah, exactly. And your body is, like we said, in a perfect world, is able to handle this. Let's talk about some of the organs that are responsible for removing and eliminating these toxins. You've got your liver.
You've got your kidneys.
You've got your lymph system.
Your colon.
Your lungs.
And then most importantly is your skin.
So these organs, if you will, are taking those toxins and they're pushing them. But what happens is sometimes, like Dr. B just explained, these organs get accumulated with that. So when that bucket, that trash can, when that organ is overflowing with toxins, where do those toxins go?
In your bloodstream, into your skin, into the actual surrounding tissue of those organs, right?
Yeah, and most of the time they go into the connective tissue first. And guess what? When you're laying on our chiropractic table and we're palpating your spine and we're feeling your joints and your spine to feel for alignment, and you're stiff and tight and sore at every single segment, that's what that's telling us, is that you have a lot of toxicity in your body and they're overflowing, they're into your tissue, and we can actually feel this, and we do all the time. So if we've asked you to do this detox, if we said, this is a good idea, most likely it's because we felt that your body was toxic just with our hands.
Or we can even see it. Like I said, the most, like Dr. Nicole just said, these toxins first get stored in the connective tissue. Well, part of that is your skin. Part of that is your joints. So you have stiff, achy joints, and you might have unclear skin. I mean, again, I'm going to repeat myself over and over again. Psoriasis, eczema. Different levels of acne. This is all indicative that your body is too toxic, that you got a stomach, that you got a gut, you got a colon, you got a liver problem, and it's working overdrive. And when it works overdrive, eventually what's going to happen is it's going to become tired. It's going to become inefficient.
Yep.
The result of this inefficiency is an inefficiency with eliminating all of these things.
Yeah, and then one of the things that goes right at this point that you're talking about is that your hormonal system, your endocrine glands, start firing off to help you, to help detoxify your body. And we talk about this a lot in the office, is your adrenal glands. They start going into overdrive, and then you end up with adrenal exhaustion on top of being toxic and having that as a problem. So if you haven't listened to our adrenal exhaustion and recovery podcast and video, check that out as well, because 9 times out of 10, if you have been toxic for a while and needing to detox, most of the time your adrenals are exhausted and need replenished and need some recovery. And we cover that in detail in that podcast as well.
If you currently are experiencing or have been diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, there is a 100% chance that months ago, years ago, a decade ago, you had too much toxins that got built up and they weren't eliminated. Toxins that are built up and that do not get eliminated, that is step one of autoimmune disease. And this process, being diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, takes multiple months and sometimes multiple years before your diagnosis actually comes about. Because what we just talked about, the end result of this inefficiency is your organs get tired, is your hormonal glands get tired, and they stop being 100% effective for the body.
So the symptoms, like you said, are varied because of this, because so many different systems are affected by toxins. The symptoms are varied. They range from fatigue, trouble sleeping. That's another sign of toxicity. If you cannot go to sleep, if you cannot stay asleep, or if you've so-called slept for 8-9 hours and you wake up and you're still exhausted, that's another sign of toxicity. For me personally, the mental lack of mental acuity is when I know that I need to detox. And for a lot of people, we chalk it up to, oh, I'm just getting old. I can't recall things like I used to. No, it's not just an age thing. It is a toxicity thing. And yes, if you leave it there, if you leave the toxins in your tissue, in your brain, it could lead to another problem, another health problem that you can get. And we commonly see with aging people, but mental acuity is another sign.
Absolutely. So we talked about, why should we detox? We talked about some of the organs involved with the detoxification. We talked about some of the symptoms. Now, probably the question you're asking yourself is,
should you detox?
Should I? Or how do I know if I need to, right?
Bingo.
Super simple. We have a toxicity questionnaire for you to fill out, right?
Mm-hmm. And actually, Marlo and Ray dropped it in the comments section right now.
There it is, yeah.
So you can click on that link.
They're so good.
I know. And fill out that questionnaire right online, and you will get your toxicity score. And what that questionnaire does is it actually rates all the different systems, organ systems that are involved in detoxing your body, and you will get a number.
Love it. So this number determines what kind of detoxification or purification that you should do. What we're looking for is any score under 40. If you score under 40, you're probably pretty good. That doesn't mean that you don't need to do a detox, but it doesn't necessarily have to be as strong or as intense. If you're over 40, just by a little bit, say you're, in the range of 40, 50, maybe 60, a 10-day detox would be really, really good for you to do. And we'll talk about the 10-day detox. If you're over a score of, say, 67 or 80, and some people are actually even in the hundreds, doing a more intense detoxification is going to be probably more efficient and more effective for the symptoms that you're dealing with.
Yeah, and the detoxes, which we'll talk about in a minute, is not just something that you want to do, wait until you are feeling very ill and you've tried everything else. My rule of thumb is once a year. Once a year, I do a detox. And if I travel out of the country, which I'm not doing that these days, then I will do another detox when I get back, because I'm exposed to different parasites and different things in the food and the environment there. So once a year, at the very least, do a detox. Do your body a favor.
Right. So there are three main phases or three purposes of the detox, right? So phase one is unlock. You got to unlock these nutrients, or these toxins from the body, from the tissues, from the organs. Phase two is neutralize these toxins. Make sure that they don't have an effect on the body, that they're not giving you and producing a symptom in your body. And number three is eliminate. expel, whether that's breathing or sweating or going to the restroom, right? We have to eliminate all of these processes or all of these toxins.
What's really cool about the human body is it is very intelligent. And this is one of the major premises of our profession. Being a chiropractor, we respect that. We respect your body's innate or inborn intelligence. It knows what it's doing all the time. And we never want to get in the way of that. We only want to assist that. So, for example, the adjustments that we give, we're just assisting your body to get back in alignment, to ease that issue so that your body can heal itself. When it comes to what your body's doing when you have toxic chemicals, when you think about it, it's really interesting, and I respect the process, because when you ingest a toxic substance of any kind, or if your body creates an endogenous toxic because of some bad process going on in your system, what your body does is it puts that toxic chemical, that substance, in a fat-soluble form. Not all of them. Some of them are in water-soluble form, and your body has no problem pushing that out through your sweat, through your urine, and through elimination. That's how toxins are pushed out of the body. But when these toxins are stuck in that fat-soluble form, which again, your body's doing that to protect you. It's almost as if it's walling it off. Encapsulating it. And what the body does is it puts that in what cells? Your fat cells. So this is often why it becomes very difficult to lose weight, because not only are you carrying excess weight that you have to exercise off and burn off, but it's toxic. And your body is struggling to deal with this fat-soluble cell, because it cannot just simply push it through your urine or through a sweat gland. It just can't. So when you do a metabolic detox, which is exactly what this is, it will take that fat-soluble cell, that compound, and it will take it through the 3 phases and unlock it, almost putting it actually does, not just almost, but it does, it puts it in a more harmful state, because now it's unlocked and it's opened, but it has to in order to be processed through the body. And then that's where phase 2 comes in, where it neutralizes it, so then your body can eliminate. And the detoxification has fiber and some enzymes and proteins and things to help bulk up your stool to push it through. Because if you don't do it properly, then this stuff gets dumped back into your system and processed through your bloodstream all over again, and now can become very toxic.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So with what Dr. Nicole just said, we have 2 different options for the detox, right? If you're somebody that, scored high on the toxicity questionnaire and really needs to have these fat-soluble toxins unlocked, what you want to do is the 21-day or the 28-day program. Now, in this program, gives you that fiber supplement, gives you that whole food supplement, gives you this protein supplement that gives you the key nutrients and key enzymes in order to unlock first and then neutralize. It's so important to have these key nutrients and enzymes to neutralize these toxins, because if you don't, you're just gonna, make yourself not feel good, and then you're gonna say, oh, it didn't work, and I need something else. And a lot of times people are going to say, I need something else, and it's going to be medication, it's going to be, this, or it's going to be that. If not done, if done properly, this can help to change your life.
Yeah, one of the most important things to consume during this metabolic detoxification is protein. And that is because certain amino acids in a complete protein are part of the cycle and the process of the metabolic detoxification happening properly in your body. So in your booklet, you will have a chart in there, and it breaks down your body mass and your weight and how much protein you need to consume. That is definitely one of the most important things that you need to follow and you need to do before you start this detox, is to calculate what your protein intake needs to be every day during this detox. So let's talk about the how. We talked about the why. let's talk about the how in more detail on this detox. So this detox it's about avoiding certain foods. So it's not always what you put into your system, it's also what you're leaving out of your system. So we'll talk to you about what foods you're going to avoid. And then we're going to talk to you about what foods and what your plate should look like. And the one product that you will take has protein, and it has some other supplements, herbs, fiber, and whole food supplements in there to facilitate the detoxification process. And you can make shakes with this.
Mm-hmm. So the foods that we want to avoid are going to be your gluten. They're going to be your wheat products. They're going to be sugar. Sugar is the public enemy number one.
For sure.
Dairy, corn. Corn is very hard to digest for the human body, especially in its current state of genetically modified. And soy. Soy has other hormonal problems and hormonal imbalances, so we just kind of want to avoid that altogether. The other thing is processed foods, right? How do we know what processed foods are? If you open a package and your food came out of that is a processed food. Alcohol, I know, it's Christmas time. I love eggnog. I don't know. Dairy-free eggnog, obviously. And caffeine. Caffeine is probably one of the harder things to get rid of, but caffeine is incredibly important to take out of your system so your body doesn't have to work as hard to digest everything, and caffeine on top of it.
That's probably the hardest part for me.
I think it is hard. The caffeine's definitely the hardest part, yeah.
So what can you eat? Well, you can eat vegetables, and they're unlimited. You don't have to limit the amount of vegetables. You want to at least get 2 to 4 servings a day of vegetables. Half of those vegetables really should be raw if you can, because you'll get more out of them. They have those live active enzymes that will really help you in this detoxification process.
Fruits are obviously always a great thing to consume. You want 2 to 3 cups of fruits, or serving size is, a third to a half a cup of fruit for each meal.
And let's not go overboard with the fruit. I know a lot of people will think, they interchange
10 apples, 20 bananas.
They interchange fruit with vegetables. It's like, no, there's still sugar in there.
Unless it's a tomato, you can do that.
Right. Exactly. Healthy grains, you can have those. Only 1 serving a day, though. Only 1 serving a day.
Healthy grains being oats, oatmeal, brown rice, quinoa, sweet potatoes. So there's lots of different things that you can do with these foods to make them taste really good too. And so we actually give you in the standard process detoxification booklet, there's lots of different meal plans and meal options for you to do as well. Some
really incredible recipes. In fact, that's what made me want to do the detox the first year. I flipped through that booklet, and all the recipes, they're incredible. They're really good. I've made just about every single thing in there.
Lean meats, fish, and other types of vegan proteins. Listen, we get proteins from all sorts of sources, not just meat products. Like Dr. Nicole said, when you get protein from meat products, that isn't actually a complete protein, so it's everything the body needs to use that for our body. We get proteins from different sources as well. We can get protein from rice, we can get protein from black beans, we can get protein from quinoa, so we do get proteins in a lot of other things, but it's important to have the lean meats, the grass-fed beef, the turkey, the salmon, the wild-caught, not farm-raised salmon.
Yes.
And I lost my train of thought.
Healthy beef, grass-fed beef.
There it is.
I don't know if you said that, but what is acceptable? We get this question a lot. Or eggs. Eggs are acceptable in this, so you can keep your eggs on your plate, which is good. It's an
amazing source of protein.
Yes, my favorite. So if you're doing the 10-day detox, in your booklet, you'll see that there is a chart for the number of shakes that you're going to do each day, and the same thing for the 28-day. If you complete the 10 days and you feel incredible and you want to continue on with the 28-day because your number toxicity score was kind of high, you really should have done the 28, you can carry on with the cleanse and keep going. You'll need another canister of the shake, but know that you can continue on if you would like. But what you'll see is that the shakes, they ramp up. So you'll start off with 1 a day on both the 10 and the 28, and then you'll slowly ramp up and then slowly ramp down with a number of shakes. And it's important that you follow the number of shakes that this guide tells you to, because again, there's certain amino acids and herbs and fiber in there that will help with the 3 phases of the metabolic detoxification process.
So one of the things that is very important for us to do is to prepare ourselves, our mind and our body for the detoxification. There's a couple things that we need to do in order to start the detox. The first thing, we already kind of made the joke about caffeine and some of the alcohol comments. Weaning ourselves down from caffeine and alcohol. Now, alcohol aside, we all know the detrimental effects of too much alcohol and alcohol itself, period. But there's also detrimental effects to caffeine and caffeine withdrawal with that. So weaning yourself off is very, very important with that. Some ways that we can help to wean ourselves off of caffeine is switch to decaf, right? We can increase our water intake, and we can also switch our coffee drinks to tea drinks.
Yes, green tea is a good option too. It's lower
Not sweet
caffeine. Tea. No. Organic green tea, and it supports L-theanine production, which helps with the neurotransmitters that you'll need for the detoxification process as well. You can prepare your body by starting to drink more water. You can start eating more, getting your body more alkalized with more vegetables and foods that are high on that pH scale. We have a podcast on that as well. And then stabilize your blood sugar with more protein and fiber.
And then just sweat, right? Sweating also helps to expel a lot of these toxins. So a popular thing that people do right now is the sauna. Saunas are closed right now, so if you have your own sauna, that'd be really great to do.
We need one in here.
Oh gosh, I love it. Infrared. Don't joke about these awesome things.
That'll be a podcast.
Warm baths, Epsom salt baths.
Exercise.
Actually, yeah.
We want you to exercise on this.
Obviously.
Absolutely. At least 30 minutes a day. Mm-hmm. Before you start getting your body ready and while you're detoxing. That'll help move your bowels and help just push things through. It makes your body better all the way around. There's some very important things that we need to stay away from when we're detoxing. The hydrogenated oils, that's an important one. That's in packaged foods. You want to start reading labels.
Hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils.
Yes.
Don't let it trick you.
Definitely don't let it trick you.
Artificial sweeteners, right? The aspartames, the sucralose.
All those hidden sugars.
All those ones that we don't even think about. Listen, I'm going to kind of interject right here. We have a patient that was a food scientist for 30 years. And I asked this patient, I said, what do you think about artificial sweeteners? She stopped what she was doing. She looked at me and she said, don't you ever consume artificial sweeteners? And she was so intense, that eye contact, I didn't ask her any further questions. I said, yes, ma'am, I will never consume another artificial sweetener. She was
there you have it.
Very intense with it.
Too much sodium is another one.
Mm-hmm. MSG or natural, what they call natural flavorings with that.
I have a friend that was dealing with a lot of skin irritation issues. It got bad, and this went on for years and years, and he went to every medical doctor, rheumatologist, dermatologist, had every test, and they couldn't find anything. And had to suffer with this, just used corticosteroid creams that just made it worse. Come to find out, it ended up being dye red number 3. And who would have thought that one color was causing this? So here's the thing. When you are investing the time and the money into yourself and going through a detoxification, you do not want to be ingesting it at the same time. So get really diligent. Thank you. See, mental. I need to be detoxing. While you're cleansing, to look at all the ingredients so that you're not putting this stuff in your system.
Let's talk accountability.
Let's talk about the now. We talked about the why, the how, the now. So it is time for you to detox.
Let's talk about the who. We're all doing it with you. You're not alone when doing these detox, and that's probably the most important thing. You're not on an island. We all have trouble with, sticking to the no caffeine or sticking to the no alcohol or neat ideas with meal plans, right? So we're all in this together, and it's accountability. So the one thing that we can do to help with that is join our Facebook page.
It is specific to detoxers and cleansers. So the only people in there are people that have or are detoxing. So that way the information and the content in there is pertinent to you. And it's private. So you have to request to join, and it's called Detox and Purify. So you can search it, or you can, if you want to join it, comment in the comment section here, or send us an email, and we'll add you to that group. And what we want you to do is post your goals, your wins, your losses, your favorite meals of the day. Tell us what your toxicity score is when you started. Tell us what your toxicity score is when you finished. Let's help you in this journey, because we're all in it together.
All right. So here's our one thing that we want to leave you with, and one thing that we want you to know for yourself. What is your toxicity score? If you know your toxicity score because you've taken it here in the office, perfect, keep that. That's your goal to beat. If you don't know your toxicity score, like Dr. Nicole said, Marlo and Ray dropped the link for the online PDF for the toxicity questionnaire in the comments section. So you can go ahead and click on that and download that.
That is the one thing that you can do for yourself today, right now, is know your score. Know your score. If you are not a patient and you don't live in the Asheville area, you can still do this. You can still participate with us. We'll help you as well. So this is something we do often, and we will be happy to take you on this journey with us. So thank you all for listening. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the comment section or reach out to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.